Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jedi here from Melanated Mastery. I have another book review video. Um, Make sure this mic is on. But so this book review is going to be on the Book of Enoch by R.H. Charles. I believe his name is the author of this version. Yeah, R.H. Charles. So the Book of Enoch, if you remember not too long ago, well, actually, it's been almost a couple years now that I did a book review on the Book of Enoch, which was by, I believe his name was Ended Commit Kush or Ended Kush, one of the two, and it was talking about Enoch the Ethiopian. Now, that wasn't the actual copy of the Book of Enoch. This is an actual translation or a copy of the Book of Enoch, and it's not that big of a book. This one was a very, very interesting book. Enoch has always been one of the characters or people from the biblical text that I've always had an interest in and that I've always been intrigued by. Um, so for this book, it's not that big actually. It's maybe roughly about 200 pages. I got through this book in about 2 or 3 days. You could really get through this book in a day if you really wanted to. There's an audio version of this book on YouTube uh, with the by the same author, and you can actually. What I did was I read this book and I listened to it at the same time. So while I was reading, I had the audio on, and it helped me get through the book. That's how I do a lot of the books that I want to read. Um, but this was a very interesting book. Some of the things that this book talks about is if you aren't privy to the knowledge of how the Book of Enoch, this was one of the books that's not in what they consider biblical canon, which are, the books that Christians consider to be genuine and considered to be authentic, right? This book is supposed to be outside of that. They don't, a lot of Christians, I'll say, don't necessarily believe in this book, or they don't follow the teachings or associate with this book. Um, but what you'll come to find out is, on the contrary, end is that a lot of pastors actually do know about this book, and they actually have read this book. A lot of pastors actually read books outside of the biblical canon, which is interesting, and it makes sense because they most pastors, when they get a degree in theology, they study books outside of whatever religion that they believe in. But going back to this book basically breaks down or talks about, put it in simple terms, how angels came down and taught people to do different things. And it gives the specific names of the angels who taught humans how to do, different stuff. So, and some of this stuff would be including like blacksmithing, right? How to make swords. For women, makeup, how to put on makeup, and that's how to create makeup, and a lot of different arts like building and construction. It talks about how certain angels taught them the sciences of that, and it was many more different sciences that the angels had taught people, is what this book is proclaiming, right? And if you want to know the names and you want to know the specifics, I'd recommend getting this book, because me, I couldn't name the specifics right off the back. Like I couldn't name all the angels because some of the names are um, unusual, to be honest with you. Um, like I believe one of the names of the angels is Azazel, but uh, they also called those angels who came down and taught people and interfered with mankind. They called those angels the Watchers in this book. Uh, and in this book, it explains how those same Watchers, and I believe also in the Bible it references as well, but it explains how these angels, or these Watchers, came down and uh, had children with the what they call the daughters of men, right? The women, and they created the Nephilim, which are known to be the giants, right? Um, Very interesting. And also, I wanted to mention how in this book it talks about how Enoch was given special power to by God to reprimand the watchers for what they had done, meaning for them teaching humans how to do different things and for them interfering with mankind because evidently it was something that they weren't supposed to do. At least it's what the book proclaims. Um, if you like this type of knowledge, like religious studies, and you just like learning about different books from different religions, I definitely recommend this book, Book of Enoch. Um, this version by R.H. Charles, right? It also speaks about in this book how Enoch was such a special prophet that that God, took him, meaning that he didn't have to experience death like everyone else did. And it explains how, God took him up into heaven and showed him the different creations that God had made and how this creation was made and just all the secrets that God had, he bestowed on Enoch or he gave to Enoch. So it really elaborates on how Enoch was a astounding or he was a character or he was a person that stood out from other beings or other people or other prophets from the Bible. So I'm going to show y'all the table of contents and I'll also show you all a little bit of what I highlighted from this book to give you some insight on what is in the book and if ask the question if you may be interested in reading this book for yourself. So I'll be right back with the table of contents video. Hey, what's up, y'all? So this is the book of Enoch the prophet. So this book actually doesn't have any table of contents as far as specifying the subjects that each paragraph or each few pages may talk about. So for the table of contents, it just says like the abbreviations. The book of Enoch starts on page 1. Give me 1 second. The bibliography, and then about the translator. So you can just read that, but you just have to go through the book to find out the specific information in the book. Um, one thing I will say about this book is that um, it does read like a biblical book. There are a lot of words that you may not know. What I would recommend doing is for the words that you don't know, quickly search them up. Like on my phone, I have a dictionary app, or even on your computer. If you have a computer, you can just search it up on Google, search the definition up, right? So that's what I would recommend. If you come across any words that you don't necessarily know, I would recommend just searching up the word really fast so you have an idea. And the more that you see the word, the more that you'll learn it and know it. That was a tip that was given to me by my dad. So let me show y'all a little bit of what I highlighted and give y'all a little bit more insight of what I actually was highlighting inside this book. So here I highlighted this. Let's see here. It says Enoch. It is recorded in the book of Genesis. Walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. That's what I was talking about earlier when I was uh, referencing how he didn't have to experience death. Um, right here it says he was the father of the long-lived Methuselah and was taken by God at the age of 365 years. I gotta make sure you guys can actually see book, but this is what I was talking about, which is interesting because we have 365 days in a year, right? Just a little interesting relation. So let me see what else I highlighted. Um, and also, I also read, and this wasn't necessarily from this book. It might, I don't know, I don't remember if it references it in his book, but I remember that I had read, at least for sure, in the Enoch the Ethiopian version by Ended Commit Kush, I think his name was, that I did a book review on my channel a couple years ago, is that it mentioned how when he actually got taken up into heaven, when Enoch got taken up into heaven, um, he got a new name, which was Metatron, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see what I highlighted here. It says here, and the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, "Come, let us choose as wives from among the children of men, and beget us children." So this is what I was talking about earlier, about them taking wives from mankind. And let's see here, I highlighted, and they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared. Okay. Oh, this is what I was talking about, the giants right here. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells. I don't really know what ells is, but you get the idea. They were pretty tall, right? Um, so yeah, that was what I was mentioning earlier, how those giants actually are known as the Nephilim to a lot of people. And here, so Azazel was one of, excuse me, Azazel was one of the names. So here, we see it says here, and Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony and beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones and all coloring tinctures. Simjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings, amaros, the resolving of enchantments, Barakajal or Barakahal taught astrology, Cockabel, the constellations, Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds, Arakiel, the signs of the earth, Shamsiel, the signs of the sun, and Sariel, the course of the moon. So here it's telling us that these people, or these angels, came down here and taught humankind or mankind these different things, right? And this is like, this stuff is very interesting to me. you know, hopefully it interests you too. Let's see here. Let's see right here. I just highlighted, and the women have born giants. See what else I have in here that may intrigue y'all. Make sure y'all can see it. All the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons, and the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. Gabriel said, "The Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth, send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle." So now these angels are causing wars. Interesting, right? And his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. So this is talking about Enoch again. And I, Enoch, was a blessing, the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go, declare the watchers of the heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives. Interesting information. He created me also, and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. That's what I was saying earlier, how Enoch was given the power to reprimand the watchers. I could read what I highlighted, for a long time if I really wanted to. I don't want to make this video too long or bore you all, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what's in this book and to pique your interest. If you're, like I said, if you're interested in studying these types of things, or reading into these types of things, being religious faiths or religious studies. So see how many pages this actual book is. So it's actually less than 200 pages. It's about 140 pages, 136 to be exact. So yeah, I'll read a little bit more of what I highlighted for you guys, because you guys might like listening to this stuff like I do. And I went in. Let me make sure you can see it. And I went until I drew nigh to a wall which is built of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to affright me. And I went into the tongues of fire and drew nigh to a large house which was built of crystals, and the walls of the house were like a tessellated floor made of crystals, and its groundwork was of crystal. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars and the lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim or cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling gat a hold upon me. And lo, there was a second house, greater than the former, and the entire portal stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire. Right? I know y'all gotta be interested in this stuff. I mean, it's just so satisfying to read and to gain the knowledge and the ideas of what the book is talking about. Um, so yeah, I'm not going to read any more of what I highlighted because then I'll be going on forever. But this is just some of the stuff. Um, so like what I just read, it was describing how or what Enoch was seeing when he was supposedly taken up with God, right? He's describing the things that he was shown by angels and by also God, right? So yeah, that's the book of Enoch, the prophet, by R.H. Charles. Leave me a comment, y'all. Let me get y'all insight on this book, and let me know what y'all think of this book and what y'all have learned or interpreted from this book. I'm just not only interested in what I interpreted from this book or what I read from this book. I want to know what struck y'all the most as well. Like I said, in the post I created, I'm very thankful for 500 subscribers. To be honest, I had no goal in mind when making this channel. I just was making this channel to use this as a reference for me. So whenever I read books, I would make a video as a learning tool to talk about what I read, and I would listen and watch my own videos to constantly re-spark my memory and keep it in my long-term memory of the books that I read. And that's a great way to learn something, as an example for y'all, if you're interested in that type of thing. But it's Jet out here. I'll catch y'all in another book review video. Y'all be safe and be peaceful. Peace.